Abandoned ship.
Yeah.
Report mission GTFO.
How am I supposed to play and podcast at the same time?
Yeah,
Right.
Out of War
I'll have to
Ragnarok.
tell you all the news, Sam. What's been going on today in Destiny?
TMZ Kingsley.
Yes.
Something about matchmaking and a 6-person activity and being the only
I'll
person
give you
there.
the TLDR. Just start us.
All right.
You ready, Hawkslay3r?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Servers are offline in 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to episode 189 of the Guardian Hub podcast, where we talk Destiny, interview guests, and talk about our love of the game. This evening, we have the trio in action, Sin Media, Des Raven, Kingsley Mac, and we have a special guest. Don't know why we haven't had him on yet. I'm very sad about that, but I'm super excited to have him tonight, Mr. Hawkslay3r. How you doing?
Greetings, everybody. Happy to be here.
Yes, I'm happy also. We go through phases where it's tiring scheduling guests on my side. I love talking to guests. And then we go through phases where we have guests. And we are in that phase right now. I have a couple more lined up. But seriously, I'm excited to have you because I remember hearing you on other podcasts and it seemed like a good time.
Only a couple more. I'm just making my way around.
Making your way around the podcast circuit. Well, there's nothing wrong with that if you're a person in the community and we want to talk to you. So,
Person
Oh,
of
yeah.
interest.
okay. Well, we have some stuff we need to get out of the way first. This is the most lively I've heard Sin in the last couple weeks. Are you feeling any better, sir?
Yes.
Good.
Considering I
Hold on.
had COVID last week and then still dealing with congestion this week, but for the most part, I'm
Oh.
doing okay.
I mean, just the last few weeks, every time it's like you're like, like barely sound alive. So, you're
I know.
sounding better tonight.
Yeah, I was taking a nap earlier before the podcast. I had an alarm set for 9 o'clock my time. And when I texted you, when I said on the way, I literally had the alarm just go off. I was like, yep, time to get up and go down.
And I didn't even know what you meant by on the way, because a lot of times in the past you were working. I forget, you generally have Thursdays off now or whatever.
Correct.
Okay.
And end of month was last night, so I didn't have to worry about that BS tonight.
Well, glad to have you here.
And the server offline is stuck here for do I have to force close this to get out of it?
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Des, I'm glad you didn't get COVID from Sin, because if he had a way to do it over the interwebs, I'm sure he could have.
Right.
He could have just mailed a package.
I did threaten somebody that I would cough in an envelope and mail it to their house.
Yeah, what's that stuff?
Anthrax.
Anthrax. Okay, you know what I was.
I was going to say arsenic, but that works too.
The old anthrax scares. Oh my god.
I know. When was that? Like 90s?
Yeah,
Early
90s.
Pretty
Okay.
much.
Okay.
You sure? Because I even remember that, and I was 95.
Well-
I guess maybe it spilled over into early 2000s, but it was definitely mid to late 90s.
90s, yeah.
I've been having a fun time doing Remember Berries and looking at generational stuff again, and stuff when I was young. Late 90s was my my era. I mean, mid to late 90s. And Des, do you remember? Because this, again, all this stuff is just a label. It doesn't really matter. But this is like a lost memory. And until I saw someone on TikTok say this, do you remember that there was going to be, and maybe other people remember this too. After Gen X, there was going to be a Gen Y. I don't know. Sin may be a little young for that. No worries. If not, I was just.
I don't. It's not something I really recall being a thing. Like, for some reason, most of my memories, even of like Gen X, was just like the heavy advertisement for like, Gen X like products or whatever back in like again like mid to late 90s or so.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. I think it was supposed to be a thing. I remember hearing this in high school, like, you guys are going to be Gen Y, all right? Like my specific age. Because I'm a really, really young Gen X, almost millennial, by a couple years. Anyways.
Yeah, you're pointer.
And then Gen Y went away, and then all of a sudden Gen X became this longer period from 65 to 80, and then it just turned to millennial, 80 and later. And then I was like, wait, what happened to Gen Y? Because there was going to be Gen X and there was going to be Gen Y, kind of like that. I thought it was supposed to be like 75 to 85 or something, but then Gen Y never happened.
I think because I remember reading up on like the actual like generation definition of like the difference between Gen X and and millennials.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it probably had something to do with like the technology boom that happened.
Yeah.
Like during the 90s and early 2000s. Because it just, I mean, to be fair, like that era, like that entire time, like, I mean, culture and just things, like it definitely created like a huge divide culturally because of that, which I think is why you have also like this like in between definition also between Gen X and millennials, to where even though technically I'm a millennial, I still have like features of this like in between generation as well, just because of like cultural things.
I think you're right. The name changed because of all the technology and the turn of the century, and that sounds funny saying it that way. And then but Drafty said Gen Y is with millennials, but yeah, it was more than that. Gen Y or millennials or whatever the name they were giving it back then was supposed to go like into the 70s also, people born in late 70s, but then they pushed Gen X back. I remember not really feeling like I associated with Gen X, like they were the people all older than me, like Gator and stuff like that. So
well, okay.
Yeah.
Also, another thing, it kind of goes along with how particular portions of the generation was raised by previous. Like for me,
that's true too.
I was mainly taught and nurtured by like baby boomers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I learned a lot from that generation, and from that I kind of learned from their mistakes, or tried to. So
you didn't. You didn't.
No, I didn't.
No, it's because that's another like thing for me, because my mom had me like late in her life. So, well, not super late, but I mean, because I think she was born in 55. So yeah, so like I said, there was definitely like, I think that's why I definitely identify more with the later Gen Xers than like a lot of millennials.
Yeah. Hawkslay3r, what do you associate with, or if you want to tell us your age? No worries either way.
Okay. Well, I was born in 95, so I'm 27 right now.
Right on.
You baby. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, trust me. I work in construction, and right now, essentially, I'm training to be a crane operator. So I'm surrounded by old people.
Yeah.
I can't say that at the job site because my crane operator right now is my dad-in-law.
Oh,
so
man.
Just tell him to get off your lawn.
Oh,
hey, okay, boomer to him.
You can. Well, actually, he's like 48 or something.
That's not boomer. That's
No. He's not a boomer.
Yeah.
But
Oh, I gotcha. Yeah.
but the funny thing is, right now I'm like living with the dude. I'm going to work with the dude, and I don't go anywhere after work. I just go home or I go out to eat, and also that's with him. So I'm literally living with my dad-in-law for the next 6 months, and I'm only going to get to see my wife a couple times.
Mm.
Yeah. You were saying that before the show, living on the road.
Yep. However, this is the second time I've done this. The first time I did this with him, I was dating my wife at the time. So imagine staying in a hotel with your girlfriend's dad.
No, thanks.
No, I would not
Boy, you had
wish
a
that
great
upon
time.
anybody.
Yeah, you had a fantastic time.
Oh man.
I can't imagine why that would be awkward at all.
Man.
Well, that I will say this. It was freaking hilarious. My wife had her phone on speakerphone one day when she was talking to him. He thought I wasn't listening, and he was complaining to her about every morning while he's getting ready, like 15, 20 minutes before I wake up, I let out this god-awful melodious fart every single morning at the exact same time.
Gotta be regular.
Oh, it was almost like on a schedule.
It's impressive, more than anything.
I don't know how, but apparently I've done that my entire life.
All right,
Yeah.
then.
Oh man! So while we're at it, let's get to know you a little bit more, in case those listening to this show don't know you yet from other podcasts. What do you call home when you're quote home? Where'd you grow up? Stuff like that.
Oh, that's a long story right there. But
Make it
currently,
meaningless.
okay. Currently, right now, I live in Southwest, or like the southwestern corner of Kentucky.
That makes sense.
I was raised in Southwest Arkansas. My hometown is a small town called Nashville, Arkansas. And yes, there is a Nashville, Arkansas. And to those of you who know geography, right next to Nashville, Arkansas, there's a Murfreesboro, Arkansas as well.
I'm confused.
Yes. Which, also, if you get a chance to go
Google
in that
Maps.
area,
What Arkansas
Murfreesboro,
again?
Nashville, Arkansas.
And then Murfreesboro? Is that what you're saying?
Murfreesboro.
Okay.
Murfreesboro.
The emphasis there. Is that close to the diamond mine? The diamond field, I guess.
Yes, I've been there a couple times, never found anything, but the only people that ever find anything are visitors. Locals rarely ever find anything.
Well, that's lame.
It is. It ticks me off. I've gone like 4 or 5 times, and my aunt that lives up in Alaska, every time she comes down, she finds the diamond. She doesn't even go digging for it. She just walks around, spots it. Oh, hey, what's this? Oh, cool, it's a diamond. I'm like, what?
What the crap?
Yeah. But in between where I grew up in Arkansas and Kentucky, starting at about 2017, I started traveling. I went up to Boise, Idaho.
Oh, I've been there a lot.
My best friend up there, I was in kind of a frustrated living situation. I was staying with my cousin at the time, and I was not enjoying it. So he basically said, "Hey, come up here to Boise, Idaho. You can come stay with me for like a month or two till you get on your feet, and after that, just go do your own thing." So I went up to Boise, Idaho, did construction work, networked around, ended up becoming a wildland firefighter. That lasted for several months. That was a really amazing experience. If you've ever seen 100-foot tall wall of flame stretching over a mile long, it's life-changing, I'll tell you that.
Fair.
But after that, I went back to Arkansas, and then uh, I started talking to my wife. Well, I started talking to my girl, or my girlfriend at the time. She lived in Alabama, and I actually met her whenever I was on a summer vacation, like years and years ago. We went several years without talking for obvious reasons. I don't that is that's a long story in itself, and I don't think you guys have time for a notebook level love story here.
We'll get you back on to tell us that next time.
Okay. But after she and I started dating, her dad calls me. Now, keep in mind, at the time, I'm working at a Husqvarna plastics factory, making $500-600 a week, and he's like, "Hey, how about you come up here and work on the pipeline with me in Tennessee? You'll make more money than you've ever seen." All right. So within a few weeks' time, I went from making $500 a week to making $2,000 a week.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I did that for about a year, and then after that, I started traveling around to different shipyards, and I eventually found my way up to a shipyard in Kentucky, which my dad-in-law married a woman in Kentucky. That's where he lives now. So my wife and I went up there because we were living in Florida at the time, but we decided that if we're going to try to have a family, then we're going to need a support group. We need help if we're going to have kids, not going to lie. So after that, yeah, basically the rest is history at that point.
Oh man. Yeah, and you're living in a hotel for 6 months.
Yep. Which, not gonna lie, it's not a bad setup right now.
Well, what's your gaming setup like, if any?
Well, my gaming setup right now, it's just my Xbox. I have an Ethernet cable running to the hotel, and I have an HDMI cable connecting my TV or connecting the TV to my Xbox.
Yeah, that works. So, do they provide good internet? You can get Ethernet, or do you have to Wi-Fi it somehow? Or okay,
it depends on the hotel. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, and sometimes they have the cord there, but it's not on service, and you got to pay extra for it.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's just you plug in, you go. So it's kind of just like a situational thing. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. Other times you got to go with Wi-Fi, or if that's crappy enough, then you got to go with your phone hotspot.
Nice.
Which
that can be very iffy.
Actually, I've had some pretty good I've had some very good gaming sessions streaming from my phone hotspot with my Xbox.
That's awesome. I know it can be better. Do you have all like the latest 5G and stuff on your phone?
Dude, my phone's still running 4G right now.
Wow, that's really good then if you're having good gaming sessions.
Dude, I haven't updated my phone since 2019.
No sweat. I'm just impressed. I'm impressed. It's working.
I'm so far behind. Like, actually, my dad-in-law, he kept sending me text messages, and I would get it like an hour later. He's like, "You need to ditch that piece of crap Samsung and go get you a freaking iPhone already."
Well, we're not here to debate that holy war,
yeah.
but
well,
yeah,
it's funny. Everybody on my wife's side of the family, they're all iPhone, every single freaking one of them, and everybody on my side of the family, they're all Android.
Boo.
Yeah.
Wait, who said boo?
Me.
I guess Sen's here to debate it.
Yes.
I mean, anyone who
Oh.
knows me knows what I like. I actually do IT on a specific side, but I've learned to appreciate everything in life, and there's no point arguing with people. You know?
I mean, that's
Well,
all good. That's all good and everything, but this is a Samsung household, so.
yep. It's funny how there are literally like either you're one household or you're another. And
Right.
it's
That is funny.
very rarely mixed, and it's hilarious.
But no,
Very
yeah,
true. No.
just over the years, I've found that Samsung they have good products for their pricing. Should I say?
Yep. Well, that and I was iPhone there for a good many years, but uh, actually around the time that the iPhone 4S came out, now granted, I was in high school at the time, and I was actually fixing phones. Like whenever people would crack a screen or they'd need a new battery or replace antennas, charging ports, whatever. I'd order the parts in online and I'd invite them over to my house and I'd go and fix their phones and stuff for them. And that's how I made my gas money.
Nice. Yeah, and we talked a little bit before the show too. You've even though you're in the physical field out and about, you've definitely had some interest in computer stuff, cybersecurity, stuff like that. So it sounds like you're very well rounded in all sorts of stuff.
I'm kind of a jack of all trades, but a master of none. Uh, you'd be surprised at the things that I've done and the things I can do. Like
I
one of the
I don't
like
know.
one of the things that
You're impressive sounding, so I guess I wouldn't be too surprised. I'm just talking you up, man.
well, one of the things I mentioned on the Guardian Down podcast I was on a couple weeks ago, was that a month ago? I don't remember. Anyways, uh, they asked me, what's something that the community doesn't know about you? So I flipped it back on them and I said, hey, let's play a game. I kind of went saw on them for a minute, and I was like, let's play two truths and a lie. And one of the things I told them was, I flew a plane at the age of 13.
Hmm.
As if that wasn't like unbelievable enough as it was, and then I went on to list my other two things. I ran a tugboat to push X amount of barges. Uh, I had open heart surgery in 2010. I mean, I can't remember who got it right. I want to say that Gator got it right and Hazel got it wrong, but I may have it flip flopped. I don't remember. I haven't listened back to that episode in a while.
I do kind of remember hearing that, and that was fun. Things like that are always fun, although I'm not good on the spot sometimes, but it is fun hearing those type of games I love.
Oh yeah. Well, I contemplated very heavily over that, and I did not go with anything I had planned on that.
But I think one thing that's excellent, and you would have this ability, is the ability to pivot and change, especially while you're still young enough to do that. If you're seeing some new field you want to go into, and if you can hit it hard, why not? Because it's nice to be able to do that at a younger age and pivot around and find what works. Some people would be like, well, you should stay where you're at and just rank up. You really gotta do the pluses and minuses, but I guess the point I'm trying to make is you have the ability to learn a lot of things quickly, where some people may find that harder or not as interesting.
That, and also I've come to the realization that if you're struggling with something, it there is no shame in saying, "Hey, I'm not any good at this. I'm going to go try to find something else that'll fit me better." So, so like actually for the last 3 months, I was in the carpenters union, and I was being ran ragged every single day. I was throwing scaffolding. I was climbing 4, 5, 6 story cooling towers, being in super sketchy situations. And I'm like, my body's going to give out in like 10 or 15 years. I'm not even going to make it to retirement at this rate. So at that point, I got an opportunity to come out here. What I'm doing rigging, which essentially I connect loads up to a crane, and I communicate with the crane operator and tell him where to go. But also I'm learning the crane from the ground up, because there's a lot of physics and a lot of details that go into running a massive piece of equipment such as that. So with that right there, you really have to start off small and work your way up. So for me, I'm really latching onto this, and I'm trying to work up my way to go take the CCO, which is the Certified Crane Operator license, which I've already taken it once. I passed the written just fine, but my test anxiety made me flip out during the practical test, and I just barely failed. Just barely. But yeah. I'm going to try again, but also those tests are expensive, and I paid like just to take the test. I want to say it's either like $1,500 or $2,000 just to take the test, and there's no guarantee whether you'll pass or fail. It's all up to you.
Yeah.
So it's all preparation, practice, and one thing I heard recently, and it really stuck with me, or actually no, I heard this last year, but practice does not make perfect. Practice makes better. Practice makes improvement, but practice does not make perfect.
Well, yeah, I mean, can you even ever really get perfect technically?
No.
But practice gets you so that essentially you can almost be perfect, but then also knowing when there are small issues, how to work around it.
Right. Which, well, that right there, with us all being D1, D2 veterans, make this game. We like to play it at its fullest extent. Let's put it that way.
Yep.
Well,
so
I say that sometimes the game plays us.
Today, no one's playing the game.
No,
right now.
On that point, really quick, recording today, because this is interesting news. I saw earlier that Destiny, or Bungie, said that there was going to be some scheduled maintenance, and they have those fairly often sometimes, but they usually mean background maintenance. The game's not going to be down or anything like that. And what's interesting is they first had this planned for Tuesday, and then they said it's not going to happen, and they pushed it to today, I believe. So then that happens, whatever. And then people start complaining about weird things happening in the game, like not being able to pick up bounties, but being in the game fine and all sorts of weirdness. And then they posted something else saying, we're aware of issues. Oh, yeah, like matchmaking, like not finding anyone at all, even in strikes or regular Crucible, like not being able to matchmake on even the most basic things. And one person said, is like, Destiny, just no one online today? I'm like, well, it can't be that bad, even though we're a little bit down right now. So they said, yeah, there's an issue there. And then it starts getting worse and worse. And eventually they said, we're going to bring the game offline for emergency maintenance. And then we're going to keep the game offline longer. And then we're turning off all third-party API access. And right now, I believe we are still down unless someone can confirm otherwise.
Still down.
All right. Sorry, Sin. No live updates from Sin.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed. Can't jump in and do my normal stuff during podcasting.
Well,
yep, I can't get into the mobile app. So yeah, it seems like everything's still down at the moment.
Yeah,
Nice.
which is totally fine. I mean, why is, well, Okay, this is sound weird, but like, why is everyone so excited about today playing? I almost felt like of all the times in the past where the game's been down, today more people were like super disappointed. But like, there's nothing really going on right now in the game, anyways.
Well, here's something else that could be going on. Could be all those procrastinators that just
Yeah,
waited till the last minute, and all those people that bounty hoard, try to get all their
Peter.
stuff.
well, what do you care so much about in the game tonight, Sin? No, I'm just curious. Did you have anything planned, or you just
Well, the
wanted
only
to
thing that I
hop
have
in?
planned this week is the last Master Raid Challenge. That's the
Talking
only
about
thing that I need to.
tonight.
Yeah, that's the only thing that I have that I need to do. So nothing tonight. Just mess around.
Yeah.
Mess around, find out that
Mess
whole
around.
that whole,
Yeah.
whole
Well, you
index.
found
there.
out all right. There's no messing around tonight.
Apparently.
That's okay though. Hawkslay3r, what do you like to do in the game of Destiny when you play it, and what keeps you enjoying the game?
Well, overall, it's the complexity that keeps me going. Uh, for me, I do everything. It really just depends on what I'm feeling. Sometimes, and also it depends on if I have a party, if I have people invite me to go play. Typically, if I hop on and I get immediate invites saying, "Hey, can you come over and help me with this?" Yeah, sure. It, like it could be a nightfall, it could be getting Crucible stuff done. Heaven forbid, Trials of Osiris. Ugh, bad memories. Anyways,
Hmm.
or or like a couple weeks ago, I I hopped on and I wasn't even logged into the game for 5 seconds, and I got like 5 invites from my friends saying, "Hey, we need one more person for a Vault of Glass raid. We're at the second and I'll get past, and we need everybody. We need somebody that knows what's going on. Please help us." And needless to say, I was not in the mindset for a raid that night. But regardless, I still helped them. Uh, lately for me, I've actually been playing a lot of Crucible. Uh, I've finally kind of started getting into crafting. Uh, I hadn't been against it, but I've been lucky enough to get favorable rolls on weapons, so I haven't really had a major push to go craft stuff.
Yeah, I still have, and that may not be a bad thing, right? Because I still
Right.
have mixed feelings about this all the time. Earlier on, I was thinking, and I generally enjoyed it, but I was thinking like, well, this gives me something else to do in the game, something to strive for, something to grind for that at least I know I have a little bit more interesting and awesome goal at the end rather than just grinding for triumph score or something like that. So I'm like getting an awesome weapon, right? But usually by the time it's like I might have gotten a random RNG drop of it anyways. That's almost the exact role that I want for PvE. And yes, the enhanced
Right.
perks are nice, which some spoiler news about that. It seems like they're going to make a lot of them not as nice, if I read that correctly in the TWAB today. But well, we can talk about that. But and then now thinking back at the end of the season, I'm like, do I really want to keep doing this? The grind of crafting weapons, because they're always adding new good stuff all the time, and it's just really getting tiring. I have really good weapons. Do I care about the new one that's 10% different? You know?
Right. I mean, for me right now, I kind of have my my baby, which is I have an Amit AR or AR-15. Uh, I've recently crafted that, and I'm loving that gun. I've I haven't gotten it leveled up all the way. I'm working my way up. Also, I decided to be bougie and put a Trials Memento on there.
Yeah,
Just
rock that. That's fine.
yeah, but my favorite weapon overall. Keep in mind, I'm also a diehard hunter. Uh, I have the Enigma glaive, but that thing's at like a level 70, 75 or something like that, and I tossed a Gambit memento on there as well.
Yeah, and Scoot
Which
mentioned. Oh, sorry.
go
Real
ahead.
quick, Scoot mentions in the chat, my mixed feelings involve believing that not everything should be craftable. To everything needs to be craftable. Damn it! After dropping 240 spoils on bad heritages.
Well, how I see it is you need to have the option to craft it. Or I would like to have the option to craft almost every weapon in the game. Not every weapon, but a good portion of it. That way, if you're struggling to get the rolls that you want, you can at least get the red borders, either dismantle them, uh, do out the quest for them, and craft it yourself and level it up. So it's really, if you don't care about luck, or if and you want to level it up yourself, or if you want to play the game and hope you get lucky, it's two sides of the same coin here.
Yeah. I don't know. And my thing is even just, I don't really have too much of opinion on how many things are craftable. Other than maybe, well, too much. Like my list is like, I still have a lot of the Kingsfall raid weapons. I still haven't leveled up my Callus mini tool to where I want. It's getting a little overwhelming and boring. Both those things together of thinking about all the things, you know.
I've only gotten one red border for my Drang Baroque, and I've only gotten one red border for my Callus Mini Tool, and I'm yet to get anything else to drop for them.
Yeah.
So, and also I wasn't really active during that season as I should have been, but I had a lot going on during then. But I got lucky. I got great rolls for both of them. And the thing is, I make it work.
Yeah.
Like, still to this day, that Drang Baroque is kind of like a PvP staple for me.
Yeah. Were you
Now,
going to say something, Des?
No, I agree.
Oh, perfect.
yeah. But now,
Well,
don't get me wrong. I'm not great at PvP. I can hold my own, and I may have I have moments where I fluctuate up and down. Sometimes I will have an entirely explosive round, have like a 3.5 KD, and get like 30 kills or something like that, or I'll have just a total ass round and have 2 kills and have a 0.1 KD. It's really, it's a it's a dice roll,
Yeah.
and it depends on how much I've had to drink at the time.
right.
I can get that. I think Kato, back when we played, can be a witness to just the extremes I can be. Like, especially going off into trials, like, I can make these super impressive plays where it looks like I'm amazing. And then the very next round, I take one wrong step and I get my head blown off. And it's like,
Yep.
All right, cool. I'm on the sidelines for the rest of this round.
Actually, this weekend, I did some freelance trials, and I did that exact same thing. One round, I was the last Guardian standing. I pulled a super clutch move. I revived one of my teammates, and I completely destroyed the other team single-handedly. Next round, I got cocky, walked into an open lane. Next thing I know, I'm looking up at the sky.
Right. Good times.
Hey, have you
But-
played this season enough to have an opinion on how you like this season?
Yeah,
With the
I've
story
played
and the
it.
activities?
Yeah, I've completed the story.
Yeah. And the Catch Crash and Expedition and don't forget the solo little faux lost sector things at the end. How would you rate this season? Not like you have to compare it to all other seasons, but what did you like or not like about it?
Overall, I'd have to give it a solid 0.8. Yes, it's had its issues here and there, but granted, every season does. It's not perfect. It was very enjoyable. I like the catch crashes. I was never able to group up with enough people, and I never really went out and asked anybody. So this isn't on anybody; it's on me. I never asked anybody to do like the master catch crashes or anything.
Oh, let's try to get that going if we can in the next week. Those are fun. The master ones, and they're not too hard.
They are fun, but the problem is it's hard for me to have time right now.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, just because I'm working 12-hour shifts and potentially working 14-hour shifts. I don't know what's going to happen.
Very busy.
Like I'm starting work at dark, and then I'm watching the sun come up and go down, and I'm still working. So,
fair, yeah.
But I try to get on whenever I can, and oh wait, I got Sundays off. What am I talking about?
Even if you can get like 3 of us together or something, Master Catch Crash is a perfect activity to LFG the rest. We just do no mic with them to fill them in, and there's always someone willing to jump in, and it's fun to just go through it.
Yeah, well, I know that we can get it together, no problem. I mean, just between Guardian Hub, Guardian Down, Two Titans and a Hunter, Potato Thumbs, all of them together, like I know that we can get at least 6 people together. It wouldn't be that hard.
Yeah. See, there's been, and I do think there's other issues with Destiny right now, but if you just take the story and the activities, I actually rate this one pretty high in my book. And I freaking love Catch Crash. Now, I was pretty bored of Expedition, but I freaking love Catch Crash. I think it was one of the better 6-player activities out there. And I don't know. I'm going to be, well, I was going to say not sad to see it go because it's not going, but, there won't be as much people hopping in and even, once the new thing starts.
Well, you say that. Like, heck, I've never had an issue going into Dares of Eternity, and that's been there for a hot minute.
Yeah, I feel that's a little different, though. But what about, like, the other, do people hop in, like, the last season's activity much? Dares is kind of like an outlier. That's, I don't know, we think of that as like a mini expansion. Okay. And there's good, everyone's hopping in Dares again because the weapons are good again.
Oh, yeah. You see, I'm also torn on that. I have some excellent BXR roles, and like I don't see as much of a push to go get or to go craft it, but at the same time, I want that enhanced incandescent. That's what I want right there.
Mm-hmm.
And imagine if that ever came out with an adept battler.
Yeah.
I just want more of those, like, I definitely want more like the legacy frames. Like that thing.
Okay.
It's amazing how different it feels. Like, I don't know. It's same company, same feels, just I guess different. I guess the mentalities between old Halo and current Destiny. It's a nice change of pace.
Right.
I would definitely like to see more legacy frames and such that have that kind of feel. But also, to be fair, that might never happen. So
you never know.
Yeah, there's so many. Yeah, it definitely could happen. I mean, I know, slightly different point, but still, the fact that Destiny's doing so many more collabs all the time means they certainly could go back to the Halo stuff again or whatever. But we just saw today they're doing a collab with Assassin's Creed armor, and the Destiny armor in Assassin's Creed looks just like Shaq's. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. I love Assassin's Creed, and I'll consider doing the Warlock Assassin's Creed armor in Destiny when it comes out.
Okay. Well, speaking of collabs, I mean, dude. Okay. Does anybody here play Fortnite?
No.
Negative.
Okay.
I don't think
Okay. The only reason why I play it is because my wife and my brother-in-law play it, and my wife only has a Switch. I'm wanting to get her a full-on console, but we only have one TV in our house. I'm about to get another one for her, but also she doesn't know any of this yet, and I'm happy she doesn't listen to these podcasts, so I can get away with saying stuff like this. But yeah, I'm trying to get her more into stuff like that, but it's hilarious because even on Fortnite, all I run is Destiny 2 skins. I bought the full package and everything, and I God, I really really wish that they would have made a Cade skin. That's just me personally, but he's kind of dead.
Well, I did get, because it was Bright Dust last week or this week, but finally for the Warlock, I don't know what it's called, but the cat head. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I like it enough. I didn't want to pay money for it, but I like it enough that it was worth dropping the Bright Dust on.
See, I like the Warlock Fortnite armor. Like that stuff just looked awesome. The Hunter was it was all right, but I like the Warlock armor the best.
Yep.
But
Yeah,
also,
so
if you guys ever saw my Guardian, I still run the in memory arcade cloak. I never take that off. That is a staple to my character. I don't care what armor set I'm wearing, unless if it's Iron Banner. That's the only time I'll ever take it off.
yeah. I feel like my wife jokes, but I think she's somewhat serious too. But she says like she stopped liking Destiny when they killed Cade.
Oh, so at the start of Destiny 2. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of. She rated some, and then, but anyways. Oh man, and yeah, the game's still down right now.
Yeah, I just
Yeah,
checked.
I keep trying to hop over to look at things, and I can't look it up in dim either because of
Nope.
that.
That's down too. It's all
Yep.
down.
Yep.
All downhill from here.
All downhill from here. I mean, they did post a tweet about Zivu Arath hinting something going on with the upcoming season. Let's see what this tweet says. Did you?
It literally is. It's
Didn't say
literally
much,
just,
right?
yeah, it's like, yeah, be prepared for Ziva Wrath coming. And it's like, oh boy,
Yeah.
please don't do that to Ziva Wrath.
Now, Sin, can you make me some tea that has pieces of the darkness in it from Nezarek?
Whoa. Why did I thought you were gonna be like, get in the kitchen and make me something. Like, what? What are we doing right
Yeah, make
now?
me a sandwich and make me some darkness tea, Sin.
No. I did see that video, that cutscene of some tea and then some adult interacting.
Now,
What? It wasn't porn.
I know, right? You can say it's in. They kissed.
Is that your version of porn,
Yeah.
Sin? You just watch kissing?
Yeah.
I know, right?
Basically.
Oh, yes,
Dude,
but what was
like-
implied?
And then he giggles
Like,
and Sin's like,
lots-
they're kissing.
Lots of soaking, apparently.
Sorry,
But
go
no,
ahead, Jez.
So I thought people were kidding. Because I saw the comments first of, oh yeah, darkness tea, and like all the tea comments, right? Then watch the video. Why do they literally put it in a teacup?
Yep.
Like, what the crap? I just thought it was like random, people's like minds going to weird things. No, they literally put it in a teacup.
Yeah.
Like, what the crap? And that's not even like, oh.
A little out there.
It's like I told my wife. All right, so I watched the video. I told my wife, I'm super excited and I'm happy that they finally like seized an opportunity to canonize the relationship between Saint 14 and Osiris. It's like it's not some writer on Twitter saying, "Oh no, they're steady," and it's not some in-lore reference to Osiris's poetry or whatever. But I mean, it's it's there, it's in game, it's a thing, it happened. But I feel like that's like because they just like stopped any story that was going on in that cutscene for the last like 30 seconds for this moment to happen. And I feel like they glanced over a lot of details that they could have actually potentially explained or teased in that 30 seconds. Like what was, and I was super happy with this cutscene too, because it's a great character growth moment. That same 14 actually refers to him as Misrax now, like his proper name. And I think that's like a great show of growth coming from someone that, a year ago maybe, like did not trust the Fallen whatsoever. So I mean, great character growth moment. And so I was really digging the cutscene at first. And then, Misrax just perceives imperceivable threads and distills darkness into tea. And the thing that they choose to focus on is Saint Osiris's kiss.
Wonder how much caffeine is in darkness tea.
Huh.
Is it must be or aphrodisiac.
I was about to say it must be a powerful aphrodisiac, right? I mean, like Osiris woke up and the first thing he wanted was action.
Sin, give me that darkness tea.
Dog.
Yeah, I don't need any of this because after this I'm going back into the hotel room and that's not what I need.
No darkness tea for you.
Yeah, so apparently, because sure, Misrax seems to be teasing Strand, like with the imperceivable threads. That's what it seems like to me. Do they concrete that? No. How is tea made from the corpse of some 1,000-year-old disciple of the darkness wake up Osiris? Does he have powers again now because it was darkness tea? No. They don't. Now they kiss.
Usually, the way the story would go, if you're distilling pure darkness into some drink, is it wouldn't just wake you up; it would turn you evil, right?
I mean,
that's usually how those things go.
Or would it just make you perceive you have those powers?
Yeah, the powers. Sorry, the powers. Yeah.
To be fair, a similar technique is used to make exos. It's somewhat similar, anyway, because Clovis used darkness to sterilize radiolaria fluid to use as, for lack of a better term, positronic brain for his exos. So, it's a similar concept. So I'm not too nitpicky about it, even though why put it in a teacup? Like somebody just thought that was funny, right? Like that was just something someone threw in there, probably not thinking, oh, they're not going to go for the teacup. Let's use the teacup. What?
Yeah.
Dose of humanity.
Oh, good golly. Sorry,
You see our live chat?
I'm sorry.
No.
Is that...
Oh, no, I actually just opened up the TWAB and I'm like, oh, wow.
Oh yeah, we're not going to be able to go over all that, but sometimes we even do skip some twabs, but we'll see. But because we're just having a fun conversation with all this, but
Oh yeah.
but
Is that what Osiris is to Saint 14? Is Osiris Saint 14's dose of humanity? Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
it's so hard when, gosh, we can do all the jokes when, and this cutscene too is just totally at the end of the season with like what 8 weeks in between and hardly anything going on. It's cool. It's always nice to have a cutscene. Animation, drawn animation, well, still pictures or whatever, that they kind of make look live. Anyways, what the point I'm making is like with it being kind of funny like that, and then at the end and so much incongruity of what's happening this season, it's like it was hard to get as interested in it. It'll be interesting to see what happens next week with the new season.
Now,
yeah, go ahead, Des, because
it has
a little bit, but yeah.
It has ended up confusing me, right? Because now they have like a myriad of possibilities. Because, like I said, it seems like they were teasing Mr. X might have a queue into Strand. But now Osiris's darkness is infused. Whoa, what happened to my speech there for a second? Anyway, Osiris is now darkness infused, apparently. So is he the key to like what? Is it neither of these things? Are they both red herrings and it's just purely on it? It's just giving me more questions than answers.
This is kind of like how the story writing almost was a few years ago, where they do some interesting thing at the very end and it adds more questions than answers, but not necessarily in a great way. And then a lot of times they don't follow up on it and then they just change the subject to something different.
Do you know what this is? Like accurately? This is the end of Curse of Osiris.
Yeah.
This is like we've seen like this cutscene has seemed to like step back a few steps. Because Curse of Osiris, at least the story, at least what they could tell or what they could put in was like interesting. And of course there was like the huge, prophecy of darkness at the very end of it. But again, it was something that just ended up making way more questions and didn't get touched on until Season of the Dawning. So, like some 2 or so years later. So, yeah, I don't know. I definitely agree with that.
Well, here's another odd thing. I don't know, Hawkslay3r, if you were able to hop in and see the quote reconstructed Elixir Quarter.
Yes, I did get to see that.
I'm not talking about the community event in general at this point. I'm talking about, okay, we rebuilt that area and all they get is a couple gardening boxes and then some 1800s wooden benches to sit on.
Don't forget about that fixed light bulb.
We're treating them well with all this stuff.
Yeah.
Here's your little garden boxes. Have fun. Gardening boxes. Have fun.
Still in crumbling ruins, but
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. How much stuff did they get? Like 400 million or something like that?
Well, Spider was probably taking a big cut.
I mean, apparently. Like somebody got a very raw end of the deal here, and Spider was involved. Yeah, he took the money and run.
Oh, I love it. Maybe they would have gotten better stuff if we didn't cheese it. So for anyone not paying attention, there was a glitch is the best word. I mean, it wasn't like exploit. Yeah, all you had to do was do this thing a certain way where very quickly people were able to donate what needed to be donated. So it got done. 25 hours, I heard, after the fact?
Yeah, it was like 25, 26 hours, something like that.
Which, by the way, we took last week off recording. We're going to have a filler episode in between that you will see before you see this episode. But so we didn't talk about it yet, but I figured I want to talk about it now. What did you think about that, Hawkslay3r? Did you hop in that event at all, or was surprised how quickly it got done?
I did. I mean, granted, by the time I jumped in, it was basically done, but I was able to get in and still get all the rewards from it. Now, I did not cheese it. I actually played it through and everything just because it was super easy to do. Like yes, you could have done the cheese and gotten it done in like 15, 20 minutes, but if you just played the game normally, you could basically have that done or almost done in like 1 or 2 gaming sessions.
There will always be someone out there. If there is an exploit, people will take advantage of it. And I don't even know necessarily if it's malicious intentions. There's just some kid somewhere, maybe even another country or group of people that like, this is something to do. Let's get the community event done as quickly as we can. And if it can be done quicker that way, they're going to do it.
I mean, that and it's like speedrunner mentality.
Yeah.
There's always going to be people out there that want to break it, that want to just do it as quickly as possible. Not because you don't have time to do it, but I guess especially with the growing popularity of speedrunning and its,
Well,
more impact on, I guess, cultural things, but it's becoming more okay or commonplace. Like, just to do it quick.
you see, I'm torn with that. Yeah, yes, sometimes I like to get events done or activities done as quick as possible, but other times I like to actually play the game and admire the amount of detail that was put into it, because those programmers, the artisans that made the game what it is, like, it's kind of doing them an injustice whenever you only do speed runs and you miss all of the amazing details that makes Destiny pop as a game overall.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember, Sin, were you in the middle of COVID then? But I seem to remember at one point you were like, the fuck? It's like, what's going on? The event's already done?
Yeah, it was the middle of all that. I got COVID. And I jumped in for a few minutes to donate like a bunch of planetary materials and pick up everything from that, whatever that track is that you can get all your free stuff on.
Yeah,
I
the
did
rewards.
that, and then logged out and was like, all right.
Yeah, it's like you got your golf ball and you're like, okay, I'm satisfied.
Yeah, I mean, I really didn't even need it. I had to burn stuff to be able to claim it anyway, but it was really nothing.
I wonder how long it would have taken if there wasn't that exploit. I think the community still would have gotten in a good click, a week and a half, probably at most. It is a good point, because Tuesday night when the event started, I wanted to hop in a Last Wish raid just to kind of experience getting the tokens, and I think you get like 350, 375, something like that if you run the whole raid. And then when the event was, quote, done from everyone donating and everything, and sure, you can still earn tokens for yourself for some lame triumph that's like 5 points or something that I don't even care about. Anyways, when I did Last Wish, sorry, I keep saying Last Wish Kingsfall. Thank you, Kato. When I did Kingsfall the other night, yesterday, whatever, and getting the tokens again, and then it's true. Like, I didn't really care as much. Like, oh, that's sad. I can't even turn the token. I mean, you can, but like, they're not counting for the goal really, because we already reached the goal. I wonder if they could have like had a stretch goal. Like, now we're gonna, even if it's not in the game, but they're like, well, they tell us like in a tweet. Now, if the community gets to this number, we'll throw out a cool, I don't know, emblem or something. Something, right? Might as well.
Yeah. I can definitely see where you're going with there.
Then, in all reality, you didn't get anything new or specific to that activity. You just got stuff. So,
yeah.
So, I mean, at least it wasn't like the what was it? Was it the Guardian games where you got the title 50 bajillion times? Do I have?
Trying to see what you're saying there.
The title, the submachine gun.
Oh. Yeah, I thought you meant like a title, like a triumph title. Okay. Yeah. Kato says, yeah.
It was.
Yep.
Yeah, and it was. I want to say I only have like maybe 1 or 2 titles left in my vault. And the thing is, I've never touched that thing. I never will, honestly, because I got a good roll on the Callus Mini tool, so I'm never going to use that.
Just wait, there may be a reason one day.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Hold on to everything.
Hoard it
Yeah.
all. And then complain about not having vault space.
Yeah, hence the host of 2 Titans and a Hunter, calling them out. But I mean, but honestly, like right now, like sidearms and submachine guns are doing very, very well in the game.
Mm. And there's lots of things that are going to be. They told us in the TWAB today, but it's like it really is too much. People read it if you want.
Too girthy.
If you
Is it?
had anything you wanted to talk about, Des, we can go for it now. I don't care.
Everything.
Out every little read every line word for word.
But no, there are some actually really good things coming for season 19.
Oh yeah, if you can TLDR anything for us,
yeah.
go for it.
They do give us, of course. I'm like just scrolling through because I did read. I read it to completion this time.
Whoa.
Which is why we're not entirely skipping in this one. I'd put the work in on this one, but no.
Yeah, no, in that case, go.
But no, they do tell us like a bunch of stuff. Nightfall, Trials of Osiris, Iron Banner weapons that are rotating in, rotating out, and what's staying. They're very specifically telling us what's new, what's staying, what's leaving. So if you want to know all that, read away. Let's see. They're doing a bunch of weapon changes for season 19. A bunch. And a lot of it is very, very good. Such as they reined in, or they've apparently reined in shotguns.
Yes.
But now, yeah. But because of the range limitation and like what they did to pellet spread, they're becoming unreliable even at close range, and they don't like that. Which is fair. So they are making every frame type, intrinsic perk of shotgun have a specific set spread pattern for their pellets.
Yeah, there's cool pictures in the TWAB. People go and look at these. Yeah.
Because they are also changing the reticules for shotguns to show you where those pellets are going to be. Which I think is wasn't that something Apex did? Apex Legends? Because I think their shotgun, they actually had like interactive reticules of where your shotgun blast. Anyway, someone can like correct me, but again, every family of shotgun is going to have a very specific pellet pattern. This is an initial run of what they'll show, but they don't quite show like there's no accuracy deviation for when you're jumping. And there's also no like field of view correction on like what the pellets will show you, but that's things that they are going to be working on, and really just wanted to get like this initial step like out and functioning. Also, season 19 full auto setting is going to be a thing.
Yes, I'm happy that's coming back.
Yes. The full auto setting is there.
Which I think we knew, right? They're just reminding us. Yeah.
They are confirming it is definitely at the start of season 19. I'm not sure if they confirmed the time it would go yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty much with season 19, I believe. Drang is getting screwed because it's losing 1 point of zoom. So about 5 meters of range. They wanted to rein it in. Fusion rifles. They are. Oh crap! What are they doing? Instead of hitting the for main ingredient specifically, they're saying instead of hitting the stability perks that fusion rifles can roll and making them even worse, they're hitting main ingredient itself and dropping its stability and aim assist to help that be an issue. Glaives, they're doing some things. Don't worry about it. They are going to tweak Rose's stats since it's coming back as a legendary, and they are giving it the from lightweight to adaptive treatment. So they're tweaking its stats to be much like, in band, as they would say. Blinding effects, they are going to be switching pretty much all blinding effects to the arc blinding effect, which is less intrusive. So, it's always a little bit better. The weapon mods that enhanced a perk are now being basically folded into the perk itself. So Dragonfly spec, Rampage spec, and Surrounded spec. Basically, those 3 perks will operate as if you have those perks, or as if you have those mods equipped always now, which is really good for Rampage, considering that adds like a half a second to your extra damage. And Surrounded lasts a little longer, and of course, Dragonfly is just more radius. Some perk reworks. Headseeker is actually an interesting one that I did want to talk about. It might actually be worth running. It might not help TTKs, but considering that body shots will not only increase your precision multiplier, but they're reworking it to also increase aim assist, so it will make headshots actually easier. So if you're crappy at getting headshots with pulse rifles in PvP, Headseeker might be the perk for you. So yeah. There's a bunch of like changes and stuff that they're doing to like base timers and crap like that. Seraph rounds are getting a nerf because that's going to be more common and it's like a really strong magazine perk.
Yep.
Tunnel vision and kill clip will be able to refresh if they're already up. Which they
that's nice.
That's powerful. But because that's powerful, kill clip's bonus damage is dropping from 33% down to 25%. Still massive, just not as massive.
Well, here's the thing: you're doing a trade-off from initial pump or initial punch to duration.
Yeah. 100%,
so
yeah.
I'd say that's an even trade-off, actually.
It is. It is actually a very fair trade-off because they could have dropped it just to 20%, which a lot of damage buffs in PvP are like kind of gravitating around towards, like around the max. So you're getting 5 extra %, but yeah, the fact that its uptime can be like drastically more now is actually pretty it's massive. Let's see, redirection is getting a change. You can read that. It's fair. Pocket Breach Armaments origin trait. They are working it to deal more damage to Ward of Dawns, Well of Radiant Swords, and Stasis Crystals. That's great. Let's see. Compulsive Reloader is actually another good one. Because the few times I did use Compulsive Reloader, I always felt like it was just kind of... It goes away a little too soon. Like, I'm a habitual reloader, and even I didn't get, like, the bonus, like, reload speed off of Compulsive Reloader that often. But they are making it to where it is active down to half ammo instead of whatever the crap it was at. So that's cool news. Ambitious Assassin, they're actually going to be making more flexible. So they're increasing the time between kills from 5 seconds to 7 seconds, which is fantastic. Recombination is getting work. Zen Moment will no longer deactivate on a miss, and we'll have a 1 second timer just for ease of use. So they nerfed Divinity, and rewind rounds will start working properly with Divinity. Does that make sense?
Yeah, then that makes sense.
Rounds.
Yeah. Genesis. They've apparently had like a hot debate, or not really a debate, but they've had
I don't know if
talks
it's a
about
good
Reddit.
band or not. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I see what you did there. But no, they've had discussions on whether it should be activatable in PvP by breaking Guardian shields, and for a while that answer has been no. Now that answer is yes. So Genesis will work in PvP. Fantastic. What else? Some nerfs. Box breathing with scout rifles. Damage is being reduced. 1-2 punch is having its damage reduced pretty much everywhere because it's really, really good. So that's fair. Enhanced perks. They're changing a bunch of stuff about a bunch of enhanced perks, and they're trying to lean in on, like, there was a bunch of stuff that didn't make sense with enhanced perks. All right, like what is this? Where was it? Enhanced Grave Robber, which reloads your gun, gave you +5 to reload speed. What? Well, they're going to take that away, and they're going to give that +5 to handling. Makes more sense to me.
Wait,
so yeah,
before you continue, since
Yes.
we're on the bug fixes part,
Go ahead.
I want to pull a full, or I want to pull a Hazel. Shit's
Do it.
broken.
I mean, basically.
Well, always right. Yeah.
Um,
Why are any of those bugs stand out to you? I mean, I used to have fun like reading some of the bugs and stuff, but now it's like, yeah, there's a lot.
right.
But I'm sad.
Is there
Like
anything
some of
else?
these, they're gonna take away for enhanced firing line. They're removing the increased neutral range.
I mean,
Yeah, they didn't have to add that in the first place, but
it's kind of useless for firing line considering there aren't that many encounters that actually where you need more range anyway. So I mean,
no, not exactly. But it did help a little, even in like orcs. I think it brought the number from like 99 to 103 or something like that. When I noticed.
oh dear.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like a 1%. It's just
Um,
fun seeing the higher numbers.
No, that's fair. They are also like doing a bunch of reworks to exotics. I do like what they're doing to the fundamentals exotic perk, which is shared between Hardlight, Borealis, and oh god, what's it called? What's it called? Dead Messenger. There we go. They're basically taking the quick swap of elements, which they don't think is exotic enough anymore, and they're kind of combining it with the philosophy of elemental capacitor. So whatever element the gun is, it will give you bonuses depending upon what element it is. And can I say, okay, so if it's arc, it's going to have +25 handling and +5 range. Holy crap. If it's solar, it's going to have +35 reload speed and +20 airborne effectiveness. Holy crap. And if it's void, it's going to have +20 stability and +10 aim assist. Can we say Hardlight is going to be a nightmare again?
Yep.
Just saying.
I mean, it hasn't not been a nightmare, but it's going to continue to be a nightmare.
Right. Also, Borealis does get a extra thing. It's whatever. Jade Rabbit.
Oh God.
Will now. They're doing something to make the gameplay loop a little better or whatever, where quickly landing 3 crits will return around to the magazine and increase the damage of your next body shot, and that will stack up to 3 times. And will reset if you reload. That's kind of it. Yeah, they are, of course, hitting Divinity as they're talking again. They're dropping its 30% weaken down to 15%, but they do notice that you can bring it back up to 30%. You can still apply a 30% weaken debuff with the cage by combining Divinity with Tether or Tractor Cannon. So it's not really Divinity doing it, but you can at least give the cage the better damage debuff. Like, the cage itself is independent of the damage debuff. So you can get the easier precision plus a better damage debuff by using Divinity with another external debuff, is what they're saying.
It is interesting they're saying that because we
Yeah.
already kind of know that. That's like we were saying we're going to have to rely, well, maybe we don't have to, but if we want that, rely on Tether more next season. But they're like heading that conversation up and saying, oh, by the way, maybe we're just going to be seeing Tether more with Divinity.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it basically Divinity won't be used more so from what they're saying here, and I guess the mentality is Divinity will be used less for its debuff effect and more so for its ease of precision shots effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they are going, like, I skipped over a bunch of them, but there are a bunch of things that they're fixing that, like, Cloud Strike will be able to proc lightning storms with the Divinity Cage now. So yeah, there's a bunch of stuff that's getting fixed to work with Divinity. So I kind of racked on it earlier, but I guess fixing all this does make sense. Arbalest missed out on body shot damage reduction, so they're giving it reduced body shot damage. Fantastic. They're kind of nerfing Gallarhorn. They're reducing the primary rocket's impact and detonation damage by 25%, but they are entirely not changing Wolfpack rounds. So they're kind of more leaning into the support and add clear functionality of Gallarhorn. Forerunner is apparently a nightmare, and they're increasing its DTK. With the addition, with the addition of the full auto setting, they've already told us most of these. No Time to Explain is getting Feeding Frenzy. Traveler's Chosen, the Catalyst is going to give you surplus. It will still have, of course, Osmosis, and Vigilance Wing will have his Catalyst perk replaced with Ensemble, since, everything can pull auto. They're fixing Dead Man's Tail, because apparently if you had both a body shot and a crit in its hip fire, like reticle, while hip firing, it's difficult hitting a headshot. So they're actually going to prioritize. The shots will prefer criticals over body shots if both targets are in the reticle, or if both zones are in the reticle, let's say. So that's fantastic. And they're also increasing the body shot damage of Dead Man's Tail by a lot, and dropping critical damage by 1. So there's that. Everybody rejoice, because they are not moving Darcy to the energy slot, but they are giving it like 80 airborne effectiveness. I'm not kidding. Also, I do like the fact that they do confirm that hitting a target with Wither Horde does, in fact, have Wish Ender deal more damage to that target. That is now a feature. And now they're leaning even more into it. Because a Wither Horde blighted target, if you're using Wish Ender, will have bonus damage increase from 10% to 25%. So, yeah, like I said, it is now a feature, and they're leaning heavy into it. Prospector is going to have chain reaction now.
Ooh.
And still, no one will use it.
I might. No, yeah, probably unless I hear other people.
For a day, right? This one, Fourth Horseman, has some niche uses. Kato, get ready. But it suffers from being, of course, extremely hard to handle, so they're decreasing its recoil by 50%. So it's going to be more stable. Yeah, okay. Forerunner, they're doing some more stuff for Forerunner things. Merciless. They're making it easier to use and easier to keep its higher rate of fire. So instead of just resetting on like a kill, it's going to be on a 5-second timer, and the timer is refreshed every time you land hits. So you can keep it going a lot. They're increasing Rat King's perks, like range, by 5 meters, so extra 5 meters. And everyone rejoice, because Legend of Acreus will no longer have movement penalties. All of you Legend of Acreus fans out there. All 3 of you. Anyway. They screwed over Bastion back in Season 14, so they're having it. So its spread will now be better. Cold Heart is getting some stuff out. Okay, I think I've pretty much covered. I do believe I've covered everything other than the fact that some exotic, like glaive melees, they're working. Skip over that? Probably not. But they are working on making basically like a full auto setting for glaives, I believe. Something similar. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah, coming, they said.
Yeah.
because
Um,
That's gonna be
story stuff there
interesting.
too.
right. And they are, of course, one thing that they do mention in the future is a heavy weapon damage rebalance will be done in the future. They do tease what's the Lightfall DPS meta? Mysterious. So, I guess Lightfall, we're going to be looking at a DPS meta shakeup. And then primary ammo weapons, they're rehauling the airborne effectiveness, or again, in the future, they will be rehauling the airborne effectiveness stat, and primary ammo weapons will be very, very good. And a pass at adding, I love this tease a lot. Because they mentioned they are making a pass at adding subclass 3.0 verbs to several exotic weapons. There are currently 7. Wow. Yes. They also do, for Void Hunters out there, they are also going to be, basically, they're going to be nerfing your radar when you're invisible. Which, I mean,
You almost sounded like Kato there.
Right? It does sound like a fair change.
Can we get a sigh from Kato in the chat?
I mean, just saying, Void Hunters are Gator and Hazel's favorite, as you've heard them rant about Respawn.
I mean, okay. But yeah, so they of course explain the radar, like 0 to 6 meters is like, if it's within 6 meters, it's going to ping. 6 to 24 meters is like the mid-range pile wedges, and then the gutter or the outer ring starts at 24 meters and goes up to 64 meters. If you're invisible, your radar only pings and only goes out to 24 meters. That's it. Which, like they said, sounds like a lot on paper, but that can be the fact that you're losing the 24 to 64 meter range while invisible, which means you're not pinging them, but they're pinging you, but now you can't even see if they're there. So it does, I do feel this change will kind of drastically change the reconnaissance aspect of stealth. Not so much the go invisible and bum rush them aspect of stealth.
Well, here's another thing. You don't have to see them on the radar to know where they are. Because you still have audible cues, you still have visual cues. If you have mics with teammates, if you're doing one of those objectives, you still have those as well. So you can still use your other senses. So I feel like it's still going to be broken and overpowered, but that's just because the community is going to adapt.
I'm sure. I mean, anything they do, people will adapt to it. I mean, I remember, there was some weapon. I think it might have been No Land Beyond back in Destiny 1 that they didn't really expect anyone to be good with, but then all of a sudden it kind of became almost a community goal for as many people as possible to be amazing with that sniper rifle. So, I mean, who knows? But that's the twat also, by the way. TLDR.
Okay. Well, if that's all you're saying, I do have to say I found interesting myself personally, just 2 little paragraphs here on Season 19 artifact mods. They give us a preview of what's coming out. And in Season 19, it's time to give a little love to Stasis. Whatever, I don't care. But you know how we had Void and then Solar and then Arc, and everyone's like, what are they going to do for the last season, for focusing on mods? Well, Stasis a little bit, but here's some other fun things. They will have, here's the anti-champion mods. They're not telling us what specifically yet, but hand cannon, scout rifles, bows, pulse, auto, submachine guns, but we will have unstoppable grenade launcher mod, what they say specifically.
Nice.
That's going to be fun.
Lucent Finisher. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Just Kato reminds me of one thing I did skip over that is an amazing thing. Is
We should go back to
Witherhoard.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, Witherhoard duration is being severely
Ooh,
reduced.
yeah. I thought you
PvP
even mentioned that.
legitimately. I don't remember it, but then again, I was trying to TLDR and go a little quick. But either way, PvP seriously rejoice at that one. Like, oh my god, can't play right now, and I'm happy about that change.
Yeah.
Like from
7.
7.4 to 4. That's
Yeah.
almost in half.
Huge.
That is like that severely reduces Witherhoard's like PvP area denial, which was stupid, especially in trials. Anyway,
But yeah, I'm missing it for PvE.
yeah, it'll be fine.
Well, yeah. Okay, so Lucent Finisher mod is going to return to help us generate some heavy ammo. We've also got some new twists on some old favorites, including a version of Passive Guard that works with glaives, and a reprisal of Breach and Clear designed to interact with the Void 3.0 rework.
I can't wait to see the like what
Breach
they
and
got for that one.
Clear.
I did forget about that. Oh, as an aged in joke, have you heard of Breach and Clear?
Yeah, have you heard of Breach? Have you heard of our Lord and Savior Breach and Clear?
Right. My God, I am so happy to hear about the return of Breach and Clear.
Yep.
Just because again, within our rating groups, like that entire season. Have you heard of Breach and Clear? How are we going to do this? Have you heard of Breach and Clear? What do I use for this? Have you heard of Breach and Clear?
There's a couple others. We're also trying some experimental mods that don't follow our usual patterns. Be on the lookout for artifact mods for the chest and leg slots that grant bonuses to resilience and mobility, respectively.
Really?
Interesting. So you can do seasonal mods to bump those up.
Yeah, that's super interesting. Like seasonal mods that affect stats.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
And we have a helmet mod that grants additional airborne effectiveness to the weapons you are wielding.
Ooh.
And the monochromatic Maestro mod in the class item slot rewards you generously for using weapons and subclasses that match their damage types.
I hope that's
yeah.
going to be a staple in like everything. Anyway.
And this is really interesting. We've added a mod aimed specifically at solo players, which can be very useful in tackling those legend lost sectors to get you just the right roll on that exotic you're looking for.
Ooh.
I mean,
that's kind of a waste it being a mod, but hey, whatever. It's something that you can add in to focus that. Yeah.
Yeah, like, are we talking like the same thing at like the same effect as like, the armor mods that Ghost have?
That's what it sounds like.
That'd be cool.
And it's for the Legend Lost sectors, and maybe it's just a way to focus getting, or a better chance of getting the exotic that you're looking for.
I mean, I feel like that's entirely fair because Legend Lost sectors and Master Lost sectors are like two coin flips that you're playing at the same time. It's like it's like playing both blackjack and roulette at the exact same time.
Yeah.
Because first you got to get the exotic you want to drop, and then it has to have a good roll.
Yeah. And shout out to Gator. He says, you had me at solo. Yeah, I'm interested in this too. Sometimes I'm not felt like going in the lost sectors. Here's another interesting thing too that I brought up a couple times in some Discords. Someone ran through the stats a while ago, and this may not still be the case, but they were showing that with the amount of time you save running a Legend Lost sector versus a Master, and how the Master Lost sector, they ran like, I think, hundreds or close to 1,000 runs of the amount of stats they had. And the percentage chance of that was supposed to be higher on Master was not that much higher, that they said you would just have better chance saving more time running it on Legend, getting those to drop. The amount of minutes you would save are better odds, if I'm saying that right. You know what I mean? Like a better way to spend your time than running Lost Sectors on Master mode. So for what it's worth, people, maybe just run Legend instead of Master when you're trying to get those things.
And also to caveat, these are odds, which say effectively at some point in time you should get something to drop.
Yeah.
But the way probability actually works, there is a chance. Like the whole thing, if you flip a coin like 50 times or whatever, it's a low probability, but it's still possible to flip a coin 50 times and get the exact same result every single time. So it's possible you still won't get it.
Then, can you tell us about the King's Fall exotic?
No.
Yes, and tell us about touch.
No.
Tell us.
It's awful. I'm on that 50 flips of the coin and still not getting it.
So, with not getting it yet, Sin, do you think they should just give it to you?
I didn't say all that. I mean,
I still love you then.
Yeah, I'm going to get it eventually.
Yeah.
It should be any time now. Anytime.
Anytime.
I feel like that's what every broke gambler says.
Oh.
Anytime now. I swear I'm going to hit anytime. Can I borrow $5? Anytime I'm going to hit big.
Going to be this time.
Sin just sounds defeated. You've given up, huh?
Well, I gave up on the game tonight. I got in, looked at the tower.
He said, "No, dog."
And then it kicked me, and then it did something where it took me back to reload into the game, and I was like, all right, I'm out. I'm done. I waited all this time for that to happen. Nah, I'm good.
You got to kind of expect when the game's had that many issues today. It's not like it's necessarily going to be perfect when it comes back up. Yeah, I know some people are trying to do some raids and things tonight. Good luck to them. Hopefully it works out because it's probably a little touch and go.
It definitely not touch of malice.
No. I'm telling you, Sin, I promise. I know, I get it. You want to get the raid exotic, but when you get it, you'll be just as disappointed on the back end. You're like, well, now what? It's not like it's a good weapon right now. No one's using it.
It's not the point. Still want it.
The point is so you can be, yes, I feel accomplished in the game. I'm a good player after all.
That's also not entirely fair. People are using touch of malice.
Oh, I know.
Because, I mean...
But who?
What is it? Raid exotic weapon usage? Again, numbers directly from Bungie from the TWAB. Touch of Malice is actually up there. It's right behind Thunderlord.
What?
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It is the 9th most used weapon or exotic for raids.
Gross.
So I mean, it's not uncommon. There are people out there using Touch of Malice.
Interesting.
And then, right, almost neck and neck with it, there's almost as many people using Osteostriga. I don't get that one. Oh, poor Lament. It's behind Outbreak. Anyway.
I still use Osteostriga both in PvE and PvP whenever I feel it's necessary.
Well, yeah, that is true, and it is exotic weapon usage. So, I mean, that's fair.
Yeah,
I was looking at it. So yeah. Just because you're using Osteostriga doesn't mean you're actually attempting to do damage with Osteostriga.
Right. And the thing is, Osteostriga, I mean, if you're in a PvP setting and you're trying to do team shooting, that is it's unbelievably broken, because as soon as they try to dip out the firefight and try to go take cover, guess what? They're dead.
Just like Thorn.
Well,
D1 flashbacks.
I was about to say.
Tap,
now,
tap.
Also,
I'm fine. I can get up. Dead. Okay.
well, I mean, at least you got a chance to somewhat react, other than last word in D1.
I mean, that's true too. When it was truly busted and giving its hip fire damage while aiming.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me.
I have a fun question here before I forget for Hawkslay3r. From Helios. How often does Hawkslay3r send feet pics to Gator?
I know that his answer would be too often, but for me, well, full disclosure, right now, he and I have a foot pics truce. At the moment.
You should have said something more interesting, like
foot
fix Discord that you send pictures for.
Well, number one, you got to do it whenever he's least expecting it, and number two, it has to be soapy.
Soapy feet pics.
He's cringing so bad in the chat right now. I could just see it.
Perfect timing. I had this question. I didn't know when to bring it into the episode, but yeah.
But
And here come the feet pics.
But isn't there a second part to that question as well?
There is.
Just to put an end to Gator's suffering.
Yeah, okay. And what's your favorite game of all time? Tuttles.
So are we including Destiny in this? Or
you can read it however you want, yeah. But it might be more interesting to give another game, too, if Destiny is your answer.
Okay. God, that's a hard one because I grew up on all kinds of different eras. Like, probably one of the first games that I ever played was like Street Fighter 2 on my Sega, and then you also have the Wii Sports. God, I was a tennis master on there, but probably the game that would probably have to be my favorite would be Halo 3, because that's really whenever where my whole gaming career came into play, or that's wherever it started right there, because I asked my mom for an Xbox whenever I was younger, and she said no. I'm only going to supply Nintendo. If you want Nintendo stuff, we can talk. But if you want Xbox, PlayStation, anything like that, you got to do it on your own. I was like, okay. So I went and got me a job. I got me Xbox, TV, Gold Pass. I got everything I needed. And the first game that I got was Halo 3. And I created so many friendships and so many connections through that game alone, and then going on to Halo 4 or 5, and then getting into Destiny. And now I'm hooked like a toxic relationship.
Love it. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Was it the Nintendo just because she felt like Xbox and PlayStation had crazier games?
Well, it wasn't only the crazier games, but it was the online aspect and how you were talking with people who you couldn't put a face to, and how if you said the wrong thing or gave out the wrong information, you could be in trouble. So
I mean, yeah, that happens all the time.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I've given Sin my social security number in a party chat.
That's lies.
Oh, man.
I mean,
have you given your credit card number out yet, Sin?
However, believe it or not, not too many people even know my real name on here. Mostly everybody knows me as Hawkslay3r. I got on to my wife because I was on the Guardian Hub podcast, and I gave her the headset because she came in, and I was like, you know what? I want you to be part of this. They ended up putting her on their Patreon's episode. Yeah, Guardian Down.
No, I know. Oh. We're all confused to get mixed together.
My bad. It's way past my bedtime, but it's okay though. But yeah, she started telling them a story, and then she started saying my real name and everything. I'm like, babe, they don't know my name. They know me as Hawkslay3r. That's kind of my alias with them.
Yeah, it happens.
But yeah, I mean, it's not really a big deal. But
just whatever you do, don't josh around.
Yeah. It would be in your best interest.
Oh yeah.
No one likes to josh around, that's for sure.
Oh God, I don't know why that made me laugh so much. It's one of those, if you know, you know.
Just not
And
gonna
Sin
lie,
knows.
I don't know why I laughed because I have no idea the relevance behind that.
Sin.
It is definitely an in-joke.
Just names and stuff. See if we can put it together. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had my name out there. I don't even care. My gamer tag is my last name, and I've mentioned my first name sometimes before. But I don't know. I have a business that I run that sometimes I even do support in other parts of the country. So it's not like I'm hiding anything.
Right.
People can look me up.
Yeah, that, and I don't know. I've always, like, since I've been doing this, I mean, I always refer to people as their gamer tags because, I mean, it's what I see, like, or at least used to, like, you know, like all the time. Back when doing RNG, I knew like all of my co-hosts' names. We had each other's phone numbers. We would text. We would communicate. But yet, they were always their gamer tags when speaking to them, like at any point in time. So I don't know. Super weird for me.
On my cell phone.
Yeah, and on this topic, I do want to give a shout out right now. Since our last recording, I met up with the good Gator. He came out to Utah. I know he's mentioned on his podcast, Guardian Down several times, about having their anniversary and coming out to Utah. And we gave him a lot of suggestions of things to do in the area. But we went out to a nice German restaurant, a brewery, and had a lot of fun. And Gator, I won't mention his first name, although I don't think he's keeping that. Well, obviously, it's Todd the Gator.
I mean,
now. He's not keeping that secret.
I was about to say, if you listen to the show long
I should have known better.
Know it anyway.
Yeah.
But it is interesting, right? You meet people in person. I'm like, okay, I know your name's Todd. My name's Mike, but I want to call you Gator. For me, Kingsley's kind of easy because people call me Kingsley anyways. It's almost more my first name than Mike. So I'm fine with it. But no, I had a lot of fun. Gator was a very nice person to meet, and we had a lot of fun going to dinner. So shout out, Todd. Good time.
I don't know. I've always, at least for me, I tend to prefer to be called. I had an amazing quote back when I first started actually like speaking, because I'm an extraordinary, like in real life, I'm like a quiet and shy individual, right? I keep to myself. The people that raid with me will go, no, you're not, but that's fair. So I've always like had the idea or quote, it's kind of like my gamer tag. It's like the relationship that Bruce Wayne had with Batman. Like Batman, it was always like an interesting like dynamic because to Bruce Wayne, Batman was the real Bruce Wayne, but Bruce Wayne was the fake mask that he wears to keep up appearances and such. So that's kind of how I feel about myself. Like my online persona is like who I can be, while real life me is very dull and boring. Yeah.
It happens. I was able to, when I've met up with people, it's not like I can't put on the social normities and talk with people and have a good time. But when it's all said and done, it's not like I want to go to like a big party and talk to like 20 different people for long periods of time. Introverts hate that. You just get tired. Obviously I am more quiet in person also. And then when we're gaming, it's easier to talk and to just be whatever.
Yeah, like, it's just, which is hilarious because I don't even talk to people at work that much. Like even like I'm around them about the same amount of time, but I don't like talking at work. It's just like whatever. But like there's just been too many times like me and somebody, I think 9 times out of 10 it was usually Kato. Yeah, it's time to get off, and we start talking like something, and then just like 3 hours later, it's like, oh crap. Okay, well, guess I really should go now.
Yeah. It's definitely easy to talk to Kato about long form topics. Just stay on the line after a raid. Well, Hawkslay3r, any other burning things you wanted to talk about tonight before we start getting ready to wrap up here? Things on your mind, things about Destiny, whatever.
I mean, honestly, we've covered. I mean, we can always find something to talk about. This is such
Right.
a massive game. We can
Yeah.
literally pick something and we can start another podcast level conversation on it. But honestly, I was happy to be here, and I'm happy that my schedule didn't change too crazy much. Even though I gotta apologize to Gator. I ended up having to dip out of their podcast early because I was getting up at like 4 o'clock that next morning. We were running until like 12:30 that night.
It can happen.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But for me, this being active in these communities and being on these podcasts, I'm a social butterfly. So since I'm either being at work or being at the hotel room, this is what I focus on socializing with instead of going out and doing all kinds of stupid stuff I don't need to do. Uh,
Right.
This right here is I find this a whole lot more fun and it's a more controlled environment, but the conversations aren't controlled, hence the feet pics.
No. No, not at all. No,
But
yeah,
it still keeps it entertaining, keeps it fun,
Yeah.
and and you can have good, genuine. Well, I'm going to use the term intelligent loosely, but you can have constructive conversations with other people without
Yeah.
essentially shop talk.
Yeah. Yeah, and I
So,
think hilariously that might be my connection to my uh I used to be like a social drinker,
mhm.
somewhat. But yeah, ever since like it's really around Destiny, like getting to know people and like talking to people, or like not even just Destiny, but like just communities in general, like just having a people you can talk to, like just for a while, like kind of that I think that coincides with my like just not interest in drinking anymore. Like I don't have to do it socially, so I don't have to do that to have fun. Like I found fun people.
Yeah.
Right.
No, that's yeah, very very good point. Love it.
Yeah, that also doesn't mean I won't drink or get drunk with
Oh,
fun
yeah.
people.
Yeah.
I have some
Still
hilariously stupid times, let me tell you what.
Oh, I don't know if you guys listened to the Guardian Down podcast I was on, or the episode
heard
I
of
was
it.
on.
Never heard of them.
Yeah,
No,
yeah. I mean, you can't even find it on Google.
right.
But heck, I had like 3 or 4 different whiskeys I was drinking on throughout the duration of that entire show. So I was fairly lit towards the end of it.
so they got drunk you and we got sober you.
Yeah, yeah.
Two Hawkslayers, take your pick. Well, we just had to round it out, right? I mean, there was benefits with being drunk, and there's benefits for being sober. So, we're just rounding it out.
Well, also, I'm sitting in my car right now, so it wouldn't really look that good if I'm over here just straight up turning up
in your car. Yeah.
But granted, I am in a Super 8 parking lot, so I don't think anybody would think anything of it.
Sounds like you'll fit in just nicely.
Right.
We'll leave the light on for you.
Well, before I forget, we do have a special Guardian Hub bonus question. What is your favorite dessert?
Oh. See, my dessert changes throughout the duration of the year. Like around this time of year, back in my hometown in Arkansas, we have a very strong Mennonite community, and every year I try my best to get around there so I can get one of their homemade pumpkin rolls. Oh, oh, dude, it's
Interesting.
it, it's just
Yeah,
about
just
indescribable.
yeah, just as a heads up, if no one has ever had like an Amish anything, eat it.
Try
It's
it.
amazing. Yes.
Try it.
Because what back in Alabama we had this like one flea market that would happen like once a month. It was essentially a flea market. But yeah, there was just this stand, and we would get like these Amish cheeses, and oh my God, so good.
Oh, I forgot to mention about a month or actually, I don't know about that, but about a month or two ago, my wife and I we found our way over to a to an Amish produce stand, and they had what was it? It was peach salsa.
Huh,
My wife and I together, we killed an entire jar by ourselves that night.
nice.
Yeah, that sounds good. And the pumpkin roll, which actually, now I do think I've heard about that somewhere else. Maybe it was Cato, because he's mentioning something in the chat, but or I've seen it recently, maybe because it was this time of year that people will do that, but I haven't had one, so I do want to try that. That sounds interesting.
If you do, try to get it from like one of those communities, or try to find an old lady that'll cook one up.
Yeah, that's the way you get it. No, and I'm not going to just
don't get the one from Walmart. It's
the Super 8 bakery, the Walmart bakery.
I don't even think my dog will eat that.
Well, I don't think I've seen it anywhere else. Do they actually have it at stores?
I've never
seen a pumpkin roll.
Oh yeah,
I must be missing out.
Yeah, you see, getting food from the Amish community is like getting a meal made for you by an old African American woman from Louisiana. You don't say no. Whatever she cooks you, you say yes, ma'am, and you say thank you, and you wait for her to you wait for her to call you sugar or honey.
And the food is going to taste amazing. Oh man. Well, that's awesome. That's a fun, unique one. We get a lot of cheesecakes and things like that, but that was fun to hear this. So excellent. Well, we better start wrapping it up. I have places to be, but
yeah,
all this
I got
means
a video
is that
call my wife as well.
Yeah, all this means is we're going to have you on again.
Cool.
So can't promise when, but I promise you will be on again. So great guest.
Yeah. Which I mean that's more than Gator said. Gator's never said anything about having me back on again.
Now he'll say it too, but
I literally heard him say WTF as he typed that into the live chat. And I pictured him slamming a Werther's down on the ground at the same time. That's my picturing it right there.
Okay, so now we have to have a competition. You'll be back on next week so we can get you on 12.
Now I can't lose my place on 2 Titans and a Hunter. I am true. Their I'm their contest overseer over there, which actually I'm in the process of doing another competition over there, but I'll leave the details for their podcast.
We'll let you have that. Yeah, I mean, it's totally great to have different specialties, different things you like to do in different communities. But we will give you the title as true honorary guest host.
Okay, which I guess my new Guardian Down name is going to be the Gator Aggravator.
All right. Well, before we truly close out, do you have any ways that you like people to get a hold of you other than in the Discord, the multiple Discords? Tell us where you are.
Oh, good golly, hold on. Let me go.
Well, don't read your whole Discord list of every server.
Yeah. Well,
You
you
know.
can find me. You can find me on Discord. My name is Hawkslay3r with a 3 at the end and instead of an E. I'm on all the coolest Destiny 2 Discords. I'm on Xbox. I'm on TikTok, which I haven't really been on TikTok lately just because I've been working too much and I have some more work videos I've been wanting to post, but yeah, that's about all I'm really at. I don't really do a whole lot of social media nowadays.
That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, like the only place I post anymore regularly is Snapchat.
Sure. But yeah, all the Discords, who knows, I might follow on TikTok. I actually use that fair bit myself, but cool. Yeah. Excellent. Okay. Let's go with Des. Where can people find you?
You can, of course, find me in many of the Discords. Not quite as many as Hawkslay3r, but many. And of course, can find me on Twitter at DES_Raven. The gag keeps going. Sin.
They can find me not doing an augment webinar at 1:30 in the afternoon my time. Kingsley.
Oh, God. You're
That
still on
showed
that
up in-
calendar?
That showed up on my calendar the other day.
Holy
I was like,
cow, that is a deep...
I should totally just join you like randomly and be like, hey, figured I'd just see what's going on in here.
See the fun... Well, okay. Don't even use this right now, but that's a calendar I very even rarely use, and they sent it to my other email address. That's why you're seeing it.
All good.
I'm like, what the hell? You're going to do an augment webinar?
Yeah. Nope. Yours.
All right.
You can find me on Twitter at sin_media, or of course in the Discord next to you two lovely gents. Mike, TMZ, Kingsley, Augment, Webinar, Mac. Take us out.
Yes, you can find me not joshing around, but actually getting stuff done all the places as Kingsley Mac. And yes, watching webinars to learn stuff about Active Directory security with the good folks over at Augment. And you can find me in the game. I occasionally stream raids, but mostly just for friends to watch. But Kingsley Mac, all the places. You can find our show on Twitter as The Guardian Hub, but more importantly, our lovely website that has everything about us. You go to theguardianhub.com.
The best hub on the net.
Thank you, Sin. Thank you, Des. And thank you, Hawkslay3r, for being an amazing guest this week.
Yes, thank you, sir.
And
Yeah, no
we'll catch
problem.
you-
Oh, go ahead. I was just excited to be here.
Yeah. Take us out.
Oh, I don't know how to do this, but thank you for listening to Guardian Hub, and I will talk to everybody soon. Deuces.
Bye. Bye. That was perfect.